Maybe you don't have a solution. I don't have a solution. But our young people have a solution. We don't have a solution today. Future, we have a solution. So I think, again, trust our young people. I think before 12, music is important. Sports, teamwork is important. Painting is important. And I think make people like a people. We should not make people like a machine learning. Like a machines. They only absorb knowledge. They should try knowledge. I see a lot of people in this world have excellent knowledge, but they just don't know how to use it. Because you never know you will succeed or not until the day you die. You will check the balance. I'm too young to say I'm failed or successful. I'm trying all the time. But let me tell you, 35, I still worry about the future. And now I'm still worried about the future. But I know worry is not enough. And you have to try the future. I think internet is new to any government. So my job is to convincing, educate, work with the government, hear what they worry, and let them know what I worry. We kick eBay out of China. It's not government kick eBay out of China. Amazon was there 20 years ago. They were here today. I talked to Jeff Bezos like 10 years ago. I said, Jeff, you sent a lot of people coming to China. But these people make boss happy, not make the customer happy. You should send entrepreneurs coming to China, make people happy.
Throughout my life, I've always seen mistakes as lessons in disguise. I often say that mistakes are the best fertilizer for tomorrow's success. They not only teach us what not to do, but also show us that success doesn't happen overnight. When I founded Alibaba, everyone thought things would work out right from the start. But the truth is that we faced many problems. It's these challenges that have shaped who we are today. Every mistake made along the way has taught me something new. I firmly believe that if you don't learn from your mistakes, you can never achieve success. When Alibaba faced difficult times, I knew that as long as we didn't give up, we were on the right track. There were days when I thought about throwing everything away, but every stumble was a chance to get stronger. For me, failure isn't the end. It's just part of the process. And that's what I want people to understand. As long as you keep trying, you're still in the game. I've failed many times. I remember when I tried to get a job at KFC. Out of 24 applicants, I was the only one rejected. And that wasn't the only time. I was rejected from 30 jobs. Each of those rejections could have made me give up, but they didn't. I learned that failure is only final if you give up. And that's how I kept going. With every no, I knew I was getting closer to a yes. When I created Alibaba, I knew there would be difficulties, but I was prepared for them because failure was already an old acquaintance of mine. Over the years, I've realized that it's not just perseverance that counts, but also the humility to recognize that you make mistakes and need to improve. That's why I always say that I'm writing the book Alibaba and the 1001 Mistakes. This is to show the world that every great victory was preceded by several failures. Without these mistakes, Alibaba would not have become what it is. It's like I always say, we can't copy the success of others. Each path is unique, as is each mistake. The secret lies in creating something new from your own stumbles. In Alibaba's early years, we were up against huge competitors like eBay. They had everything to crush us, but we stood our ground. Why? Because we learned from our mistakes and innovated from them. Failure taught me to be resilient, to look forward, and not repeat the same mistakes. Innovation is often born from error, and this is something I still defend today. If you're afraid of making mistakes, you'll never discover what really works. If I could give one piece of advice to everyone reading this, I would say, embrace mistakes. They will shape who you are and the success you will achieve. I've failed more times than I can count, but I've never let those failures define me. In fact, they opened the door to my success. And as I always say, as long as you don't give up, you'll always be on the road to victory. I've always believed that the future is something we build, not something that just happens. I often say that there are no experts on the future, only on the past. As an entrepreneur, I have learned that it is essential to look ahead and see opportunities, even when everyone around you is immersed in fear or uncertainty. I remember many conversations with other global leaders where they told me that the future would be bleak because of technology. They said that artificial intelligence would eliminate jobs, that machines would take over everything. But I've always believed that despite the uncertainties, the future will be bright for those who believe in what they're building. Everyone said we should fear the impact of automation, but I always knew that machines will never replace people. We must create machines like people, I always say. I believe that the future belongs to those who are creative, resilient, and dare to believe in a better tomorrow. The key is to look beyond the immediate challenges and have a clear vision of where you want to go. If we focus only on the fear of the future, we end up trapped in it. But if we believe, we can
invest in the people, invest on the future, and invest in SME. This is very important for China-Ukraine relationship. And I admire Ukraine for a long, long time. This is my first trip in Ukraine. You guys are so lucky. Beautiful land, intelligent man, beautiful women. How could in this world there was such great combination, right? And you know that the people, normally those people who handsome, they're not clever. People like me, ugly, but we know something, right? But this nation, such colorful history. So I think China, Ukraine would definitely work more. I'm thinking about inviting many of my business friends come to Ukraine. Opportunities here. And your system, your young government, and your people, and your land. Huge potential.
What kept me going was this confidence in the future. Instead of fearing what might come, I chose to focus on the possibilities. When Alibaba started, there was a lot of uncertainty. But I always believed that with innovation and faith in what we were doing, we could transform the market. Confidence in better days gives us the strength to continue, even when the path seems impossible. And that's what I want you to understand. Believing in the future is not just an act of optimism. It's a powerful strategy for personal and professional growth. Life is full of unforeseen events, and the future will always be uncertain. But what makes the difference is how we position ourselves in the face of this uncertainty. I always say that fear is an entrepreneur's prison. If you let it dominate you, you won't move forward. But if you believe in what you're building and have the courage to move forward, the future will be your ally, not your enemy. That's why I believe that true life transformation comes from a mindset of abundance and positivity. Believe in the future, work with passion, and you'll see how opportunities arise where before there was only doubt.
And you people, you believe the future. You are making the changes. As I said, the ministry, never in the world. Very few countries I go there is a ministry of innovation and love to change. And you never see a government that president 41 years old, prime minister 35 years old. A lot of ministers like 28. They don't have experience. Tell me who has experience of the future? Nobody has experience of the future. We think is that let's fight for the future.
When I started Alibaba, I knew that if we wanted to survive, we had to innovate. The market is unforgiving of those who stand still, and I've always believed that we can't copy the success of others. Each market, each company, each context is unique, and trying to replicate what has worked for others does not guarantee success. Innovation comes from understanding your customers' needs, listening to what they really need, and from that, creating something new. It was this approach that helped us overcome giants like eBay, which already dominated the market at the time. One of the most important lessons I learned was that innovation is risk. Innovation means getting out of your comfort zone and trying something new, even if it seems risky or even impossible. I remember when we decided to focus on e-commerce for small businesses, many people told us it was crazy, that the future of e-commerce lay with large corporations. But I always believed in the power of small businesses and young people. It was this commitment to innovation that set us apart from our competitors and made us grow rapidly. If we had followed what everyone else was doing, we would never have become what we are today. Innovation is more than just technology or new products. It's about a mindset. At its heart, innovation is about not being afraid to make mistakes. Mistakes are the best fertilizer for tomorrow's success, I always say. Every time we try something new, we have the chance of failing. But that's exactly where the power of innovation lies, in trial and error. In the beginning, we made a lot of mistakes, but this helped us understand our customers better and improve our processes. Innovation is a continuous journey where each mistake brings us closer to success. If there's one thing I've learned, it's that those who don't innovate end up being left behind. In today's fast-changing world, if you're not ahead, you're losing ground. That's why I've always encouraged my team to experiment, to test new ideas, and above all, not to be afraid to fail. Without innovation, there is no progress. And if there's one thing the future teaches us, it's that we need to be agile, creative, and above all, resilient. Innovating is the only way to guarantee that we will be ready for the challenges yet to come. Since the beginning of my career, I have always believed that the real investment should be in people. I see many leaders focusing only on technology, thinking that this is the only path to success. But in reality, it's people who move the world. I often say in meetings with other global leaders, invest in small businesses, in young people, and in education. These are the real engines of progress, whether in a company or a nation. At Alibaba, we don't just grow because of technology. We grow because we invest in people. I remember well when we started to grow rapidly. Everyone said we needed to focus on great technological innovations, but I always knew that the key to success lay in developing the talents around us. The greatest talents are already in your company. I always say, it's not about hiring the best on the market, but nurturing those who are already with you. Technology, no matter how advanced, will never replace the human capacity to dream, create, and adapt. The future is in the hands of resilient and innovative people. That's why at Alibaba we've made a huge effort to train our employees. We invest in training young talent and developing skills that machines can't replicate. We train our staff to be creative, empathetic, and collaborative because we know that's what really makes the difference. When you invest in people, you are building something that goes beyond numbers or growth metrics. You're creating a legacy, something that will thrive regardless of technological changes. And this is what many entrepreneurs forget. Long-term success is not just based on technology, but on people. When you empower your employees and create an environment where they can grow, innovation happens naturally. At the end of the day, human relationships are what move the world. That's why I've always believed that real progress only happens when we invest in people. Technology is just a tool. It's people who make the difference. Over the years, I've realized that the education system we have today is still stuck in the past. What we teach in schools can often already be done by machines. I always say that we need to teach our children to be creative, to think critically, and to develop skills that machines will never be able to replicate. The future belongs to those who can innovate, create, and lead, not those who just follow instructions. That's why I firmly believe that education needs to evolve. When I visited various universities around the world, one thing struck me. Many young people were trapped in a system that prepared them for the past, not the future. I remember my visit to Ukraine, where I saw bright young people, but they weren't being encouraged to think outside the box. I always say that education shouldn't be about memorizing facts, but about creating, building, and innovating. If we want to prepare the next generation for the future, we need an education system that values curiosity, collaboration, and creativity. At Alibaba, I have always sought to apply these principles. We create training programs focused on skills that go beyond the technical. Our goal has always been to prepare our employees to be independent thinkers, capable of solving problems in a creative and collaborative way. I believe that the future of education lies in human skills, things that machines will never be able to do, such as empathy, leadership, and teamwork. We need to put more emphasis on these skills if we want the next generation to be truly prepared for what lies ahead. The evolution of education is not just a question of curriculum, but of mindset. We need to inspire young people to think beyond the boundaries of what is possible. The world is changing rapidly, and those who are not ready for these changes will be left behind. I believe that the real impact of education lies in teaching people to be flexible and adaptable, to question the status quo and always look for new solutions. The future belongs to those who can think for themselves, and that's what we should invest in. My life is a long story of failures. Many people know me as the co-founder of Alibaba, but few know of the countless times I failed before achieving success. I've been rejected from more than 30 jobs, including KFC. It's hard to imagine someone being the only one to be rejected from an interview for a fast food chain, but that's what happened to me. And yet, I kept going. Because as I often say, failure is only final if you give up. Every time life knocked me down, I got back up more determined than ever. What I learned from these failures is that they are temporary. They can hurt, they can make us question our paths, but they are never permanent. When I founded Alibaba, I knew we would face many difficulties, but for me, the challenges were just part of the process. The mistakes I made throughout my life prepared me to deal with the challenges we faced at the start of the company. Every time we failed, I saw it as a learning opportunity, not the end of the line. The secret is to keep trying, even when everything seems to be against you. The failures I've experienced have shaped me. They not only taught me to be resilient, but also showed me the value of persistence. When I look back, I realize that the greatest lessons I learned came from my defeats, not my victories. Each failure I faced opened doors to new possibilities, and over time, these possibilities turned into successes. It's like I always say, mistakes are the best fertilizer for tomorrow's success. The real victory lies in learning from what went wrong and using it to build a stronger future. I firmly believe that success is an inevitable consequence for those who refuse to give up. The world is full of stories of people who reached the top not because they avoided failure, but because they embraced it. The key is to understand that failure is temporary, while success, once achieved, is permanent. So if there's one thing I can take away as a lesson, it's this. Failure is part of the process. Keep moving forward, learning, adjusting course. Success will come sooner or later to those who never give up on their dreams. People sometimes ask me if I regret having created a company as big as Alibaba. I always reply that if I could start again, I might try to keep the company smaller. The truth is that big problems come with big companies. The bigger you grow, the greater the responsibilities. I remember when Alibaba started to expand rapidly, and I suddenly realized that it wasn't just a question of running a company, but of looking after thousands of employees, millions of customers, and maintaining balance in an increasingly complex structure. Rapid growth brought challenges I had never imagined. The need to make quick decisions, often under pressure, became routine. As we grew, so did the complexity of managing the company culture and ensuring that our values were not lost in the process. I learned that success and growth come at a cost, and that cost usually involves more stress and challenges. The real challenge, however, is not just in growing, but in keeping the essence and mission of the company intact, even when things get huge. But at the end of the day, I believe that the size of the company doesn't define its success. What really matters is the impact you're having on people's lives, whether they are your employees, customers, or society as a whole. Growing is good, but we must never lose sight of what is most important: taking care of the people who helped us get there. As I often say, a good company doesn't need to be huge. It needs to take good care of its employees, customers, and society. Growing brings challenges, but also the opportunity to do something really great. At the beginning of Alibaba, I made the mistake of believing that experienced executives from big companies would be the key to our rapid growth. I thought that by bringing in people with great CVs, we could overcome the challenges of an emerging company. However, I soon realized that these people, despite their experience, were not prepared for the pace and innovation that a startup like ours required. I learned the hard way that experience is not always synonymous with success in an innovative environment. Over time, I changed my approach. I've come to believe that the most important thing is to hire people who can become leaders in the future, who have the ability to grow along with the company. I often say that you should hire people who can become your boss in 5 years. It's not just about technical skills or an impressive CV, but attitude, passion, and the ability to adapt quickly to change. The right people will learn what it takes, and that's something that experience alone can't guarantee. This focus on hiring smart and visionary people rather than just experienced ones has been key to Alibaba's success. When you invest in people who believe in the company's vision and are willing to learn and evolve, you build a strong, cohesive team. The lesson I took away from this is clear. Great companies are not just made up of great CVs, but of great people who have the emotional intelligence and mindset to lead and innovate in times of uncertainty. Many people ask me about work-life balance. The truth is that for me, if you love what you do, you're never really working. The famous 9996 culture, working from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 6 days a week, has become a symbol of how we live at Alibaba. To some, this may seem extreme, but I've always believed that when you're passionate about what you do, work becomes a natural extension of your life. If you hate your job, even a few hours a day will seem like torture. However, I can't deny that this approach has its complexities. The challenge is to ensure that this passion for work doesn't suck up all your energy and affect your personal life. Working hard is important, but true balance comes from finding satisfaction in every aspect of life, be it work, personal relationships, or moments of rest. I always tell my employees that while dedication is necessary, you need to take care of yourself to keep your mind sharp and your creativity flowing. Balancing this can be difficult, but it is essential for the longevity of any career or company. I've learned over time that balance is not a rigid rule. Everyone finds their own way of balancing work and life. The important thing is not to get carried away by a routine that sucks the passion out of you. If you find true purpose in what you do, then work blends with life in a way that you're not just surviving, but really enjoying every moment. And in the end, that's the real balance. Doing what you love without neglecting the other things that matter. Since the beginning of Alibaba, I've always believed that the true potential of e-commerce lies in small businesses. Many leaders focus on large corporations, but for me, small businesses are the backbone of any economy. That's why our mission, right from the start, was to help small businesses enter the digital world and connect with the global market. Today, more than 60 million companies depend on our platform to survive. And this is a reflection of how small businesses have great opportunities in the modern world. Small businesses have an agility and capacity for innovation that large corporations often lose as they grow. They can adapt quickly to market changes, which gives them a competitive edge. I believe that the future belongs to these small companies, which can respond more quickly and creatively to challenges. When I look at Alibaba's growth, I see that our greatest strength has always been in supporting and empowering these smaller entrepreneurs. It's like I always say, invest in small businesses, in young people, and in education. That's what really drives progress. The true potential of small businesses lies not only in what they can do today, but in the impact they can generate tomorrow. By investing in them, we are strengthening the foundations of the global economy and creating an environment where innovation can thrive. Small companies can become large over time, but more importantly, they can retain their innovative and agile spirit. This makes them an essential pillar for the future of the global market. I have always believed that the future of education is not just about learning facts or acquiring technical knowledge. I believe we should focus on teaching human skills, those that machines will never be able to replicate. Creativity, empathy, collaboration, and critical thinking are the real skills that will define the future. Technology can do many things, but there is something deeply human about creating, leading, and dreaming. These are the skills we need to nurture in the next generations if we want to prepare them for the uncertain and dynamic future that lies ahead. In the past, education prepared people for repetitive jobs, but that era has passed. Today, machines can do many of these tasks efficiently. We therefore need to teach our children and young people to be innovative and adaptable. I believe that the key to success in the age of artificial intelligence lies in focusing on developing the emotional and social skills that make us unique. As I always say, we need to teach our children to be creative and collaborative, because it is these skills that will define success in the future. The role of education should be to transform the way we see the world and connect with each other. Technical knowledge is important, but without the ability to think creatively and work together, it becomes limited. We need to prepare our young people to lead, to solve complex problems, and above all, to create a future where machines are our allies, not our competitors. If we invest in human skills, we will be creating a world where technology and humanity work together for a brighter future. A common mistake I see many entrepreneurs make is thinking that they need to beat the competition at any cost. For me, this is not the path to success. At Alibaba, we have always adopted a different philosophy: to grow together alongside our partners and competitors. I believe that the success of one company doesn't have to mean the failure of another. In fact, the business world has room for everyone to thrive, as long as there is collaboration and mutual respect. Rather than seeing our competitors as enemies, I prefer to see them as a learning opportunity. Often, the companies that compete with us have valuable insights that can help us grow even more. The collaborative ecosystem we've created at Alibaba has allowed us to thrive without the need to eliminate the competition. This mindset gives us the chance to grow sustainably by helping other companies develop along with us. At the end of the day, true success comes when everyone thrives. If you're constantly trying to beat others, you miss out on the opportunity to learn from them and grow in a healthy way. The business world is vast, and there are many opportunities waiting for those who know how to collaborate. By building bridges instead of barriers, we create an environment where everyone can benefit, and that, to me, is the essence of a successful ecosystem. People are often afraid of technology. They are afraid that machines will take their jobs or that artificial intelligence will replace human labor. However, I always say that technology should be our ally, not our enemy. The technological revolution is not something to be feared, but something we should embrace and use to improve our lives. I believe that in the future, collaboration between humans and machines will be the key to success. At Alibaba, we have always believed that artificial intelligence and other technological innovations will not replace humans, but will help us do our jobs more efficiently. Machines can perform repetitive tasks, while we humans can focus on creating, innovating, and leading. The future belongs to those who see technology as a strategic partner, not a threat. Over the years, I've seen many companies hesitate to adopt new technologies for fear of losing control. But the reality is that those who embrace change and see technology as an ally will have an advantage in the digital world. True innovation comes when we combine the best of technology with human skills, creating a collaborative environment that drives productivity and innovation. My career is full of failures. I remember being rejected from 30 jobs, including one at KFC, and having failed when trying to open a translation agency and a Yellow Pages business. At 35, I still hadn't experienced what many would call success. However, these failures were, in a way, my greatest school. They prepared me for the challenges I faced when founding Alibaba, and without them, I might never have achieved the success I have today. What I have learned is that failure is not something to be feared, but embraced. Every mistake I've made along the way has taught me something valuable, something that has helped me build Alibaba. The real secret is to keep trying, no matter how many times you fail. It's like I always say, failure is only real if you give up. And giving up was never an option for me. Each defeat pushed me to keep going with greater strength and resilience. These failures have shaped the entrepreneur I am today. They taught me patience, resilience, and above all, to never give up on my dreams. Alibaba's success was not the result of a single great victory, but of a series of small failures that over time turned into great lessons. Failure, when accepted and understood, prepares the ground for true success. At the beginning of Alibaba, I made the mistake of hiring experienced executives from large companies, thinking that they would bring the necessary knowledge to help us grow faster. However, I soon realized that these people, although talented, didn't fit the culture of an innovative startup like ours. It was then that I realized that the real power lay in training our own team, developing internally those who were already committed to our vision. At Alibaba, we have adopted the philosophy of internal growth. We have always believed that the best leaders are those who grow with us, who share our values, and who deeply understand the company's culture. Instead of looking for stars from outside, we decided to invest in the continuous development of our employees, giving them the opportunity to become real leaders. This not only strengthened the company culture, but also ensured a cohesive and committed team. When you train your own team, you are building a solid foundation for the future of the company. People who grow within the organization understand its challenges, its vision, and most importantly, are aligned with its objectives. Investing in the development of your employees is not just a question of efficiency. It is the key to ensuring long-term success. Alibaba's rapid growth was undoubtedly one of the biggest challenges I faced. When we started expanding rapidly, the number of employees, customers, and responsibilities increased exponentially. Sometimes I wondered if it would have been better to keep the company smaller and more agile. Growing too fast can bring complications we never imagined, from management issues to maintaining the company culture. As I grew, I realized that I couldn't control everything. I had to learn to delegate and trust the people around me. I learned that the secret to dealing with rapid growth is to stay focused on what really matters: the company's values, the culture, and the mission that guide us. Even with the challenges that growth brought, I continued to trust in the team we had built and the principles that had brought us there. At the end of the day, growing too fast can be a problem, but it's also an opportunity to strengthen the company's foundations. If you can stay focused on what is essential, you can overcome the challenges and continue to grow in a sustainable way. I've learned that when growing fast, the real challenge lies in making sure you don't lose your identity in the process. Many of the most important decisions I've made in my career seemed insignificant at the time. I remember when I decided to focus on the internet, something that few in China understood in the 90s. At the time, many people told me it was a crazy idea. But that decision, which seemed small, ended up changing the course of my life and that of Alibaba. The truth is that the future is shaped by a series of small choices we make every day. These small decisions may seem irrelevant at the time, but over time, they accumulate and create a profound impact. When I look back, I realize that each choice, no matter how small, led me down a new path, opening doors I never imagined existed. Each step taken with courage and vision brought me closer to my goals, even when the decisions seemed insignificant. The important thing is to make these decisions with conviction and courage. We can't predict the future, but we can shape it with our daily choices. Never underestimate the power of a seemingly small decision. It can be the catalyst for something much bigger and more significant. Ever since I was young, I've always been curious. I wanted to understand how the world worked and what was to come. This curiosity led me to explore the world of the internet, something completely new and unknown in China in the 90s. I believe that curiosity is one of the greatest qualities of an entrepreneur, as it drives us to explore the unknown and ask questions that others wouldn't think to ask. Curiosity is what makes us question the status quo and look for better ways of doing things. If you are constantly asking yourself, what if? You are opening yourself up to new opportunities and possibilities that might otherwise go unnoticed. Innovation is born out of curiosity, the desire to discover something new and not being afraid to explore the unknown. Don't be afraid to ask questions, even if they seem simple or trivial. It is often this curiosity that leads us to great discoveries and breakthroughs. In the end, curiosity is the fuel of success because it keeps us moving, always searching, always learning, always growing. At Alibaba, we have always sought to create an environment where innovation is encouraged and where people are free to experiment. This means allowing mistakes to be made because innovation only flourishes when there is room to fail and learn from mistakes. I believe that in order to build a truly innovative environment, you need to create a culture where the fear of making mistakes doesn't exist. I remember a time when one of our departments made a costly mistake on a project. Instead of punishing the team, I encouraged them to learn from the failure and keep trying. If you don't make room for error, you'll never create an environment where innovation can thrive. Failure is part of the innovation process, and it's important that everyone in the company understands this. When building an innovation environment, it is essential to give people the freedom to test new ideas and feel safe to make mistakes. Only in this way can we create truly innovative solutions and discover new paths to success. Innovation is born out of experimentation, and this is only possible in an environment where creativity is valued above fear.
Jack Ma, the visionary behind the Alibaba empire, is living proof that success rarely follows a straight line. Known for his innovative ideas and fearless vision of the future, Ma has built one of the largest e-commerce platforms in the world, but not without facing a series of failures along the way. Jack Ma believes that it was these failures that paved his path to success. Mistakes are the best fertilizer for tomorrow's success, as Jack Ma often says. In this video, we explore the most powerful lessons Jack Ma shares about innovation, education, and the true essence of success. Jack Ma taught us that the future belongs to those who dare to believe in their ideas, even when the outlook seems bleak. For Jack Ma, the key is to innovate continuously, and above all, not to try to copy the success models of others. He argues that real progress comes from investing in people and in the power of small businesses, pillars that he believes are crucial for any business to thrive. Follow our channel and immerse yourself in other incredible speeches by Jack Ma, with deep learnings and valuable insights. You'll discover how his personal experiences can transform the way you see failure, innovation, and success. Get ready for insights that can change the way you think about business and personal success. Now that you've learned Jack Ma's valuable lessons, the question that remains is, how are you going to apply this knowledge to your own life? Have you thought about turning your mistakes into opportunities for growth? Or maybe you're ready to start innovating and leading more effectively rather than just following what others are doing. Remember Jack Ma's teachings, true success doesn't come without challenges and difficult moments. What will define your future is the way you respond to these obstacles. Whenever you need a boost, watch this video again. These lessons are more than words. They are practical guides that can help you achieve your goals, whether in your career or in your personal projects. Don't be afraid to fail, to try something new, or to question what you think you know. The greatest transformations happen when you adopt a mindset of growth and determination. Before you leave, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to continue learning more about innovation, leadership, and personal growth. And stay tuned for our next video. How I Accepted Failure as Part of Success, Jack Ma motivational video, which will go even deeper into these ideas, offering insights that could change the way you look at the future, so don't miss it. Comment below on what inspired you most in this video and share your experiences. See you in the next video.